Hi, everybody. This is Moving the Needle, Digital Transformation in the Accounting Channel, and I am Gaynor Meilke with Accounting Ignited and Charisma Inc. And today we are so lucky to have Kane Polakoff from CohnReznick on. And John, you're
Yeah,
here
so
with
hello
me too.
everyone. John Higgins here with Higgins Advisory. Thank you for joining us on the podcast today. And as the title of the series is called Moving the Needle, we have with us Kane Polakoff, who is someone who's very active in helping to move the needle forward for
Mhm.
CPAs and the CPA profession. So, welcome, Kane. Very interested to hear what you're experiencing these days in the marketplace.
Yeah, thanks for having me, John and Gaynor, and also a beautiful day in Michigan, John. So,
Yeah.
and,
It
not
is.
often 70 degrees and the birds are chirping and the flowers are blooming. So it's much better than January. So
Yeah. Been a long time coming.
yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that as I reflect, even the last 2 or 3 years, there's been an enormous transformation that we're seeing in the industry, and I'll speak specifically about CAS right now, which I lead the client advisory service practice here at CohnReznick. I've had this is my second adventure of building a CAS practice, and had the fortunate to be able to help establish the CAS practice at CohnReznick. So we started back in January 3 years ago, and we never looked back. So it was interesting as I kind of reflected and took a step back to determine, how are we going to go to market? What industry verticals are we going to go after? What is the technology that we want to put in place? And at that time, AI was being discussed, but it was more being discussed as, hey, it's using Copilot or Cloud, or hey, I'm going to help to use it to write emails or post on LinkedIn. And so we wanted to think about at that point in time, do we want to get involved with that or do we want to wait? And then also looking at capacity, which when you look at client advisory service practices today, we've seen, especially in the last 5 to 7 years, just 25, 30% top line growth. And so I knew, because in my previous organization, we saw 50%, 100% growth. And so I wanted to make sure that we kind of we put the foundation in place to make sure we'll be successful with that. And so what we did is we built it by vertical. We created tech stacks that help to make things easier by vertical. For example, in our real estate practice, we leverage Yardi and QuickBooks Online. In our non-for-profit group, we were using NetSuite and Sage Intacct and QBO. And then our government contracting CAS practice for vertical, we're using Uninet and Costpoint Deltek. So a lot of different GLs, but focusing specific by the vertical, and then the point solutions that help automate that from accounts payable, from expense management, from close management, and so on. So that was kind of the foundation. We did not focus on AI initially, just because that was, I've talked to many providers out there. At that point, they were trying to figure things out, so I let them figure things out while I was trying to figure out myself, and settle
Yeah.
and put all the cards in place and be in that. And we ended up just kind of fast forwarding the to now we have about 150 people, very fast growing, maturing practice, and it continues to be a lot of fun, John.
So, Kane, when you go in your cast practice in those verticals, then it sounds like you're going to your clients with the tech stack already pre-established. So they, as part of being a client, they have to come onto that platform, I assume.
Yeah, so 95% of our clients use our tech stack. There are situations that we come into where a client's already deployed NetSuite or Sage Intacct or have done their own tech stack, and maybe they use Ramp versus Bill or whatever that may be. So there are situations that we go in there, in a lot of cases we have to optimize the technology and to help make it better just from our experiences. But we prefer to use our tech stack because as we move now into our AI development, we can talk more about that and helping to facilitate that. If we already have control of it in a good way, but the data is still responsible for the clients, but it helps make things more efficient and help to standardize things. And that's our goal as we move forward there, John. So.
So when you get a new client, then basically it's outsourcing their accounting to you, right? Would that be a good way to characterize it? And so then are they kind of shutting down their internal systems at that point and just transferring everything over?
Yeah, so when you think about, our clients, we focus, one thing I didn't touch upon is the ideal client for us.
Hmm.
So we're looking for clients that are mid-market focused. We're not looking for a single small client. We're looking for somebody that has some complexity. Could be a real estate property management company that has 120 properties, or a hospitality firm that owns 50 restaurants and maybe 20 Jiffy Lubes. And so there's a lot of complexity. So we have less clients, but larger clients.
Yeah.
Where if you look at some of the other CAS strategies where they have smaller clients and more clients. So I'd rather manage 100 clients than 1,000 clients. So that was the approach that we did. But yeah, to answer your question directly, when we meet with the prospects and we understand where they're at, there's really two or three different things that happen. One is we evaluate their tech stack and we move them if we can into our tech stack and we optimize it. So there are situations like a restaurant client where we have to integrate with their point of sale system, for example, or if
Yeah.
it's a non-for-profit, there's maybe a donor database, or in healthcare there could be a practice management system. So we still have to go through. There are some integrations that we need to put together in order to move them onto our platform. And then your question on what the services are, we have some clients that we are the complete back office accounting. I call it accounting and operations, where we're doing everything from transactional level up. There's no CFO, there's no controller on the client side. It's really us. There are other situations where they have a CFO controller and we work with them. Or there could be situations that we're working side by side, their staff accountants. So it really depends on where they are, and there's ebb and flow. And we're flexible. There's not a As long as the teams are able to work together collaboratively and supporting each other, it's fine. If there are situations it doesn't, then of course we try to address that appropriately. But that's how
Yeah.
we handle that. And then, the implementation, taking on the transition, and then ultimately continuous improvement is how do we leverage and deploy automation and the technology to integrate the different systems together, because it could be a payroll HRS system too, and
Uh-huh.
pulling information together from different systems. Consolidating the information so that we can provide that proactively to our clients.
And I'm sure that's where sort of having your own set tech stack makes it a little bit easier if you can standardize it. But for some clients, if they're, in a mid-sized company, do you find that there's any friction like with getting them onboarded and everybody up to speed? Like, how do you guys deal with that?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the clients have heard about the different technology solutions out there, but
Mhm.
they don't understand it and they're not staffed for it or they have the expertise in that. So they're feeling very relieved. We do, because of our relationships we have with a lot of the technology partners, we can provide discounting and
Mhm.
helping to provide other value adds there. So that's a benefit for the client, and the benefit is for us from a scale is that my staff is trained on and certified on the different technology that we have.
Mhm.
So if we have a bunch of clients, which we do on Sage Intacct or NetSuite or Yardi, it's a lot easier to scale up. Hey, I'm going to go buy another 50 properties, and we need to scale up and support that client. Where if, hey, I'm on MRI, I'm on RealPage, I'm on all these different
Yeah,
systems, we can support that. It just it's harder to cross train. So we're trying
Sure.
to keep it through a certain level, but we are continuing to evaluate different technology though too.
right. Yeah. And I know just from like previous talks with you, you guys are very much always evaluating. So like that's also like is one person doing that for the cast team, or how does that work in the firm?
Yeah, great question. So we have the verticals, as I was explaining to you. We have seven of them, and then we have two horizontals. One is a shared service center that is built out of our global operations in Chennai, in the Philippines, and then we have a software solutions team. That's their part of their job is vendor relationships, partner relationships, technology assessments, looking to the future, AI development, execution. So it's a team of people. I mean, if
Mhm.
you asked me 3 years ago, it was Michelle Boyer, which but now we
Mhm.
have actually, I think we have a team of almost 10 people now that are supporting those efforts. And we are looking at the digits, the puzzles, the campfires. We're looking at different general ledger systems and just trying to figure out for our next vertical. We just launched life science and healthcare.
Uh-huh.
what are the best GLs for that? What is the point solutions? And because we want to partner with the technology partners that are making the investments in the industry and helping to support us and being there side by side by us to help execute on our behalf and with our clients too. So that's the
Mhm.
approach we've taken there.
Wow.
So how's the mix of your team? Is it like you must have some software technology experts and some accounting experts? What's kind of the mix of it, Kane?
Yeah, so on the software solutions team, what we've found is that we love to find accountants that love technology
Uh-huh.
or technologists that love accounting. And when you look at Michelle Voyer's team that comprises of that, and being able to put yourself in the shoes of an accountant as you're evaluating the technology has been a big benefit for us. We
Yeah,
have hired some technologists in the past that don't have technology accounting background, and it just takes longer. And
right.
so we try to find that balance, and that's a small percentage. So most of our staff is focusing on the ongoing accounting operations. And I said there's about 10 people that are in the software. We have about 150 people now and
Okay.
growing. We just added 50 people in the last 3 months, and we're adding another 50
Wow.
as we speak. But we're also getting more involved into client success, implementing more on the software solutions team is also implementation project management too. And same question you may ask on the project management, having folks that have the accounting background and
Uh-huh.
understand project management, that's a good combination too, because it's hard to manage something if you don't understand the nuts and bolts of it.
Well,
Sure.
that speaks to a trend across accounting as well as, there's the shortage, as people say, of these accounting professionals. So how can you actually like bring in people who may not have gone to school to be accountants, but do have a background in it so that you can still expand your bandwidth without being locked into like one particular profile.
Yeah, and I think to that point, we have hired folks that maybe didn't have a degree in accounting but love accounting, and they're analytical, they are mathematicians, or they think in certain ways, and that has something we continue to evaluate, and which has been good. And trying to find that profile we've learned over time, depending on the level, because it is a fast-paced, dynamic environment, and
Mhm.
you're managing many clients, many deliverables. I like to say you come in the morning, you have a list of 15 things, but then you leave the end of the day, you have now 40 things, and the 15 things you got to figure out when you're going to do. So there's a lot of organization, prioritization, and flexibility and adaptability that in our practice is required to be successful.
Mhm.
So the term cash, to me has always been very interesting. It, really originated as client accounting services and it's evolved to client advisory services. So I think somehow the profession needs to figure out a way to better distinguish between the two. So on the more pure client advisory, like, are you trying to help your CPA professional staff become more advisory? Is that part of your group, or would that be, in those
Yeah.
service lines directly?
Yeah, great question. Because I know Dan Hood always asked me the question about CAS or is it CAS or whatever, and I always it used to be client advisory, accounting and advisory services, and then I said the accounting is silent because you're making the assumption you're doing the accounting, but you need to do it advisory. But now what we're thinking about, and this is a Michelle Voyer term, which I love, is client automation services because you're providing the technology with the advisory with the accounting. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we are and as you look at AI, we can go into that if you like, or I can wait there,
Mhm.
is helping to become more on the prepare level, doing transaction categorization, dynamic
Mhm.
close management, integration for posting of journal entries, and so on. That's just three things that we're focusing on. And as I was at AICPA last week and talking through some of the leaders, and I was at ITA over the weekend, upskilling continues to be the trend, and how do we get folks to spend more time on advisory versus doing the work? And what
Mhm.
with leveraging automation and technology and AI now, my hope and our goal will be is to have the month end close or creating the financial packages will only be the beginning of the journey for a client on a monthly basis. It's a starting point, but it's not the end point. Where if you
Uh-huh.
look at the last 10 years, clients come to us because they can't even do that. So now getting that done is still a big deal, but we need our seniors, our managers, our senior managers, our directors and partners now the close will be easier because the transactional work is being done more on the by the AI provider or whoever you're using. And then
Hmm.
it's allowing us to almost become actors in a way where you have a script from the AI where you read it, you articulate that to a client, you're taking data from different areas and benchmark information. The vision is, and then you spend more time advising. So that's where we want to go. We're not there today, but that's the vision we're heading to in the next couple of years within
Yeah.
CohnReznick.
Well, I think that's really interesting what you were saying about it's almost like we're actors using the script in some ways, because I also feel like firms from an advisory perspective, obviously you're having a real conversation with each client, but there's basically, so many points that you can cover on somebody's business and their financials that can be the starting point. So, like to your point of actually systematizing how you're having the conversation makes it a lot easier rather than feeling like every conversation you've got to reinvent the wheel of
Right.
when you
And,
start.
and I think that's the foundation of scaling. I think it's
Hmm.
always how do you it's a foundation of a script. You can go off script, of course. That's why I
Right.
use the analogy there, but we need the actors to be trained. We need them to understand.
Hmm.
They need to have the industry expertise, as I was sharing earlier on,
Yeah.
and to be able to speak the same language. A lot of our staff comes and worked in the industry and was part of the industry. So
Hmm.
they already have that foundation. And by having that foundation, they're able to have conversations. And now by getting the data from the financial, the general ledger system or the HRS platform or the operational system or practice management system and bringing that all together, and then understanding what that is, not just trends, but how is that going to impact projecting out is pretty awesome to see where things that's where we all want to go. And
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think that's always been my vision, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. And but it's going to take a lot to get to that point, and it's a transformation, and change management is not easy in accounting, especially
Yeah.
for accountants. And so that's going to be the fun challenge that we all have is how do we do the training? How do we have use cases? How do we? It's almost like you're rehearsing for a play or for a movie. Is how do you get prepared for that interaction?
Hmm.
You just do different scenarios and you learn. So that's where we want to get to,
Hmm.
and I think we will in the future, and we'll become more consultants, management
Yeah.
consultants. I'll look at it from that end, and it's an evolution it's moving. It's moving pretty quickly too.
I have a question for you where you were just saying, we're all going to be learning and upskilling teams is really important right now. Are most of your team members, are they like in offices or are they remote or how does that work?
Yeah, so we have 30 offices here in the US, and we
Hmm.
have now two offices in globally, so one in Chennai and one in Makati, the Philippines. We're in
Hmm.
the process of opening an office in Hyderabad and also Bangalore. Now in the US, we have folks all over the country. Some of them are close in the New York office or the New Jersey office or the Miami office or the Tyson's office. So yes, we're trying to get as we're hiring, we're trying to hire the best talent wherever they may be. I'm in Detroit, and
Hmm.
there's no office in Detroit, so my office is my home. However, I go to the different offices and I meet. So we are trying to find ways, or even having WeWork areas in the future where people can come
Hmm.
down. They don't have to be there every day, but
Right.
to have the collaboration, to the synergy, the excitement, the
Yeah.
energy of meeting in person is much better than us you meeting on a Zoom, as an
Right.
example. So we're moving towards that, and in our
Hmm.
Chennai office today, we have some folks that are in Bangalore, and we're looking to open up a WeWork where they can come maybe 2 days a week and do that. So we are trying to, and I think more of our clients want us to come on site too. So we have a
Hmm.
couple of our staff right now, one's in Denver at a client and others because they are asking, they want us to be in, and I want us to come inside. I want us
Yeah.
to meet with them, have dinner with them, listen to them, help us advise for them in the long term and build a better relationship too.
I love that because it's putting the human in the loop of the automation and
Mhm.
just even like for people who are starting their careers, being able to have that interaction and learn as opposed to trying to learn everything just by doing it through a computer. It's
Yeah, I mean,
completely different experience.
yeah, for sure. I started my career at Accenture, and I was on the road all the time meeting with clients. I
Mhm.
had an office was a cafeteria table or going to different places,
Yeah.
but I was able to interact and learn, and that's how I started my career. And it's funny when COVID happened, everything went the other way for we all know why. And now I think things are trending more back. And just as my my daughter Gaynor
Yeah.
is just new working for Baker Tilly in Chicago. She wants to be in the office. She wants to spend time with folks. And
Yeah.
I think it's fine finding that balance because that's how we learn. That's how we not only
100%.
the how to do the work, but to how do you interact with people, the soft skills, things that you have to learn from experience. So,
Yeah. And I also think that soft skills is what's going to differentiate a lot of firms from,
mhm.
competitors because, we can all build a better tech mousetrap, so to speak, but then how do you deliver the advisory on top of that and actually have the real connection
Yeah,
is
and I think the one
differentiating.
thing we haven't talked about yet is culture. And
Mm,
and we have to take culture seriously. We have to find ways to improve it. We have to meet with our staff and make it fun, make
Yeah.
it exciting, feel the passion on it. And
yeah.
so that's that's an area we continue to work on. And that's I want to make our culture as good as it possibly can. And by a lot of that is by getting together, doing things together, doing fun things together,
Mhm.
opening up, feeling comfortable. And you can't do a lot of that on the screen. So.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was speaking at a conference yesterday in Action, Oregon, and I was on a panel with two other AI professionals, and all three of us were in total agreement that, the whole evolution of this AI world is going to the humanity part of CPAs is where our value is going to be because there's going to be a need to always have a human in the loop, I believe. And as CPAs, we're the most trusted people out there, profession out there. So I think the future is really bright in that regard. But getting together in person like you're doing, I think that's so critical to build those skills. Otherwise, if you're behind the screen all the time, there's just certain skills that never get built.
Sure, sure. I mean, human intelligence is such an important piece of the evolution that we're going to have,
Yeah,
I've used this example 20 years ago, and I said this again, or we had a bunch of folks that are doing data entry and keying in information. That's gone now,
yeah.
and things have evolved. You go to a fast food chain and you do self-service, and there's different things that have continued to evolve, but you still need to have people that have the intelligence to help drive operations and efficiencies. But you're using the tools to make things easier to do it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always say it's the authentic intelligence, and in accounting, it's advisory intelligence, and those are two other AIs that you need to think about
Mhm.
as we're.
Yeah, it's an amazing time to be in the industry, that's for
It
sure.
is.
Very exciting. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to have you back, Kane, and you can tell us about all of your next adventures. It's
Yeah, they keep coming. I'm looking
amazing.
forward to both my personal adventures,
Yeah.
as well as my professional adventures. I'd be happy to share. So,
Yeah. Well, that book will have to come one day, right? Yeah.
they will.
Awesome.
Great. Well, thanks
Well,
for sharing your time
yep.
with us
Thank
today, Gaynor. We
you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Look forward to the next time.
Keep
Yeah.
doing the good work there at CohnReznick. Sounds like you're
Yeah.
on a really good track.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah.
John. Thanks, Gaynor.
Yeah. It's amazing. All right. Thank you.